This is the Infiniloop, a combined passenger train, mobile office, and casino. The central carriages are heavily guarded. Remain silent. Remain undercover.
Sure, but more importantly, you're quitting EOS?
Round intruders detected.
Again.
30 seconds! That's a new record!
Do not change the subject.
All passengers, this is Brett, your handsome VP of mergers/consultants for the day. Be advised, we picked up a couple of tail-end freeloaders. Please be vigilant of any dubious characters or unauthorized gunplay.
Undercover is a VR light gun cover shooter. We really love those old classic light gun games in the arcade. There's so much joy and simplicity to them while being deep and engaging. They're really easy to pick up and they feel great, but it'll take you years to become the best player. We wanted to take the best elements of those old games and reimagine them from the ground up for VR. It's not just a simple implementation of the existing mechanics. It's more looking back at what those mechanics are trying to achieve and working out how to express those ideas in VR.
So as you progress through the game, you'll start to familiarize yourself more with Infinidyne. For instance, in Mission 2's first chapter, you'll be on a corporate work-from-your-commute train called the Infiniloop, where you literally work your way to the first class.
In certain classic light gun games, you have this cover system that doubles up as your reload mechanic. So by taking cover, you protect yourself from damage and you also reload your weapon. So we wanted to make sure that that was part of our active cover system. One of the key strengths of VR is physicality. When the player crouches a small amount, say 20 centimeters, the game detects this, and then your in-game character and camera are automatically moved down much further right below the cover. So rather than having to get on your knees and do squats all the time, we take the hard work of it out of your way and let the game do it for you. And you get into a really nice rhythm of popping in and out of cover and coupling that with your reloads, so you're avoiding enemy fire, and you're also reloading at the same time. So there are two good reasons to do this motion, and that motion feels good. And we've never had anyone feel even a slight bit of motion sickness from it.
Taking point! Weapons free!
Let's rock!
Through visual style, we give a sense of progression, what it's like to be on the inside of Infinidyne, much like a worker would be, as well as naturally resulting in different combat design approaches due to its structures. More verticality here, more nooks and crannies that enemies can pop out from there. There's of course more enemies that are being introduced, like Rocketeers, that force you to rethink when to take cover, or Henchborks, which make you use your ammo more defensively, as well as just regular pickups.
Get in! Je vais prendre ça.
There was always this idea with the game that if the player shoots, the world reacts in some way. Whether you hit an enemy or whether you miss and you hit a wall, there will be some kind of feedback for the player. You know, we've got a whole set of destructible items that break into multiple different components. You've got explosions going off on the screen. Whether you miss and you hit a column and it deforms in real time, and you can keep shooting it, and you know, you can really sort of leave your mark on these areas that you're traveling through. You've got so much happening simultaneously.
Okay, too corporate? Fine. Anything else?
Action!
Dead on!
Bingo.
Dead on!
Undercover calls back to your classic buddy cop movie. You know, they're almost like frenemies. You've got two agents working together. They're from different countries. There's like some bravado between them, or even ego. You know, we wanted to sort of put a bit of a spin on that with Magnum and Red Eye's relationship. I think it's a nice, fun, almost like subversion of expectations, that there is this big, almost world-threatening doomsday plot happening, but it's the bickering between these two characters that is really fun to listen to, and it was really fun to kind of play around with and contrast these two characters together.
Relaxing things in peace.
We're creating global peace!
We very often put players in different positions with different vantage points than their partners, so that they have an opportunity to assist their partner, whether that is just flanking or access to a pickup, or an explosive that is just out of view for their partner, hopefully incentivizing a little bit more cooperation while competing for high scores. So while some parts of the level might just be very simple shooting galleries trying to compete with your partner for a high score, others will be encouraging players to give each other a leg up to get past a difficult part of the level.
Bingo. Bam.
Dead on!
That's a crit.
Our goal with Undercover, it not only plays around with the mechanics of a light gun shooter, but it also draws on the visuals of the eras that they were created in. And it's this blend of old meets new, that sort of almost golden era of PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 sort of visuals. There's the level of like nostalgia to them. Visual staples of those styles include a lot of things like baked lighting, low poly models, pixelated textures. There's a combination of different things there that we've kind of mashed together. You know, we don't use like filtered textures, and that was more of like a PS1 thing, but the polygon density and the level of visual fidelity, I'd say, is more in like the PlayStation 2 era.
I think a major challenge for the game was to still feel immersed in VR while at the same time emphasizing that the game requires quite a lot of frontal focus, like a light gun game, and making sure that there's an interesting choreography going on so players can decide what enemies on the screen they should prioritize.
Passengers advised, the snack carriage is now closed due to unscheduled cyberpunk going through.
Throughout development, we of course emphasized synergies between different enemy types, but we especially started playing with timings and methods of introducing these enemies. For example, we'd get the player to tunnel vision in one direction before visibly having a rocketeer enter into an open space, grabbing all the attention, just before having an assassin grunt spawn in and take a pot shot in the corner of the player's eye. A term that we'd frequently throw around when talking combat design was whack-a-mole, where we'd be taking things into account such as density of enemies, their scale, which is effectively distance, and what they'd be framed by. For instance, pillars, pipes, objects. There'd, for a very long time, been a competition to have enemies spawned in very peculiar places, so that they would just pop their head from somewhere unexpected, just to surprise the player in ideally a comical way or an unexpected way.
Bam! Critical! What a crit! Bonjour! Dead on! I do enjoy a well-earned victory. Dead on!
We also want some suspense of disbelief. For instance, exploding barrels, which we often unashamedly exaggerate. When enemies fly comically far, that's just part of the action hero role. When you have dual weapon pickups, you have infinite ammo, so you can just focus on taking out as many bad guys as you can. We want players to use these tools to their advantage, taking out a bunch of enemies with one barrel, or strategically triggering slow motion with that barrel for more headshots, or to help your buddy out when they're being overwhelmed by rockets.
Je prends ça.
Of course, because the vast majority of the game takes place in static cover, before moving on to the next one, we're effectively making dioramas that have to be both aesthetic pleasing and interesting combat-wise, but it also gives us an opportunity to kind of pepper the surroundings with bits of lore and stories to understand it better. This can be through very obvious posters promising workers more income or perhaps even wealth if they gambled their salary, or the only drinks being around being energy drinks and grind-set coffee. Obvious workplace hazards like explosive barrels in the break room or very inappropriate warning signs, that kind of stuff.
What the hell is loot stock?
Exactly. I'm pretty sure it's unregulated gambling.
We want to treat Infinidyne like it is an actual corporate entity. So what does that mean? Well, there are different parts of Infinidyne. You know, there's the nice, kid-friendly Infinidyne on everyone's TVs and playing adverts and stuff. But then you've also got the sinister side of Infinidyne, making military technology, weapons. But they've also got an energy drink brand, and they've also got their own coffee brand. But even the motivations of why does Infinidyne have its own energy drink brand? It's to keep productivity high. It's to get the most out of their employees at all times. Don't drink water, drink fatality or brutality. And each of those products went through almost like a product design pass, brand guides that all of the art team could follow. That was really fun.
Bonjour.
Why didn't you tell me before? Because I know what you're like. You take everything so personal.
How can you say that?
Agents, the prototype has arrived at the next station. Your train is not scheduled to stop. get to the control room.
Mag, don't pout. Walk and talk, or at least shoot and scoot.